I actually had a really healing time going back to Australia. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I got invited by the Bishop Fisher in Sydney, and it was really great. There's some amazing things happening in Australia, like really solid Catholics.
That's good to hear. I didn't experience that too much.
Well, something about the Maronite men, these kind of bloody men from, I don't know where they're from, and but they're just so cool and manly. And the bishop there is awesome, and I think a lot of it has to do with this good man, Cardinal Pell, and his example.
Yeah, cool. I don't know much about Pell, and I don't know much about Bishop Fisher. I've heard great things, but
Yeah, so, I mean, Pell, I met him once in an aeroplane. I think it was World Youth Day Canada. I was on my way home with Bishop Hurley. It was funny. I remember speaking of World Youth Day and the Bishop and Australian sayings and things Americans wouldn't understand. I remember we were going on a big hike, you know, like in World Youth Day, because you're going to where the Mass is celebrated, and someone was complaining about he didn't go to the bathroom. And Bishop Hurley, who's not in his clerics, right, because we're all hiking, he's like, all right, well, tie a knot in it, fellas. And so I was like, that's your bishop? Like, yeah, that's Bishop.
I've never heard that.
Tie a knot in it, fellas. And I don't want people to get the wrong impression. He's a holy man.
Yeah.
His homilies are so profound and beautiful. He loves Jesus Christ. He's a good priest, but tie a knot in it, fellas. An American being like, is that your bishop? Yeah.
It's so funny.
But yeah, I met him on an aeroplane. But he was like the conservative voice in Australia for so long, so the media loved to hate him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, falsely accused him. He ended up in prison because of them.
And he passed away.
He's dead, last year, January 10th, I think, in Italy. But then Fisher's a Dominican, really bright, really faithful, but really Aussie. That's what's so cool.
Yeah. It's really cool. I experienced this to a small degree meeting the Sisters of the Immaculata last week after you don't hear an Australian accent or, you know, engage with any Australians, and then you meet a bunch of them. It's like, oh my gosh, like you really see it for what it is. Just
do you think
beautiful.
Americans feel? I'm sure Americans feel that way.
Probably.
But it's got to be different.
Yeah, because
whatever it is
better.
they're experiencing, that's the main thing. Whatever it is, it's got to be different. There's something about Australians. I just love Australians and the sense of humor.
Yeah.
So Cardinal, I was at the North American College in Rome, where priests from America go and study, and one of them was telling me that when Pell would go there, he would lead adoration. He'd always have one of the seminarians sit next to him and tell him, poke me when I fall asleep. Because he was getting old and he'd start, poke me if I start snoring.
That's awesome.
Like that. You imagine having that job? I'm so sorry. You told me to do this. Yeah. He actually wrote a prison journal.
I've heard of it.
I have it on the bookshelf. You should definitely read some because they're so plain.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear.
He didn't make himself a martyr. I would have. Like, I'd be like, I don't know. Yeah. I hope I wouldn't have, but I think a lot of people would have. They would have made it way more dramatic. But when he got out of prison, wrongly accused, the entire world falsely thinks he's a pedophile. And then even one of the people says, actually, I lied about it the whole time. That never happened. Like, that actually came out, and he was totally vindicated. Yeah. And he's on news, and they're asking what it was like. And he's like, well, it was like a long retreat. Really? I got some time. Said me prayers.
Wow.
That was a sentence. Said me prayers. That's such an Australian priest thing.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. I pray that I have the grace to react like that.
Could you imagine everyone thinking you've done this horrific thing? And even the people who love you think, well, I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be brutal.
I can't imagine that.
Be brutal.
It would. Yeah, you could see how it would tear someone down.
Man, have you checked out Exodus 90 lately? If you've heard of Exodus 90 before, you're probably thinking Lent and cold showers. But the Exodus 90 app offers so much more. It's a daily companion to help you grow closer to God and to become the man you want to be. I've been following along with the app's daily scriptures, reflections, and prayers, and it's awesome. On the app, you'll learn more about St. Michael's Lent, which starts August 15th and leads up to the feast of St. Michael the Archangel on September 29th. St. Francis received the stigmata during St. Michael's Lent in 1224, and he observed this sacred time out of his profound devotion for St. Michael. Join the men of Exodus 90 and Father Carlos Martins, a renowned exorcist and host of the Exorcist Files, who will serve as a spiritual guide for St. Michael's Lent this year on the Exodus 90 app. We will awaken to the invisible realities and enter into the spiritual battle that rages around us all the time. Go to exodus90.com/Matt for a 14-day free trial to the Exodus 90 app and to learn more about St. Michael's Lent. That's exodus90.com/Matt to join us for St. Michael's Lent starting August 15th.